Hello everyone. Now as you know, Michael Jordan fans are the worst sports fans of all time, and one of the many reasons why is because these people don't even know that the NBA changed rules to make it easier for Michael Jordan.
Now before we get into what rules they changed, let's go over some other things first.
First, let's go over how we know that the NBA changed rules to make it easier for Michael Jordan. Here are some reasons in no particular order.
First, there are lots of common sense things. Now, I am not going to go over each of those things. If you want to have some examples of some common sense things, play the video that I made that is about how the NBA has been pushing Michael Jordan for a long time.
But I'll give you some examples. Here are some examples in no particular order. First, professional sports in general change rules to make it easier for scoring. Next, the NBA tries to change rules to make it easier for scoring. Next, the NBA tries to change rules to make it easier for scoring for smaller guys. Next, the NBA tries to change rules to make it easier for scoring for their stars. Next, the NBA tries to change rules to make it easier for scoring for their number one star, or for someone who they think could be their number one star, or for someone who makes them the most money, or for someone who makes them a lot of money.
And Michael Jordan is someone who scores a lot. So when the NBA decides to change a rule, you know by common sense that they will change a rule that helps Michael Jordan.
Now let's go to some other things. Here they are in no particular order. Next.
Usually when the NBA changes a rule, they change it because of a star. They change it to make it harder for the star, or they change it to make it easier for the star. And Michael Jordan was at some point the number one NBA star.
Next.
Some of the rules that were changed when Michael Jordan was in the NBA, or they were changed when he was outside the NBA because the NBA knew that Michael Jordan might come back to the NBA.
Next.
There were lots of NBA people who thought that the NBA would eventually change some rules because the NBA had a negative image, and they thought that they could change that image if they take out the physical play. Now, if you take out the physical play, it helps people to score, and that will help Michael Jordan.
Next.
When the NBA changed some rules, there were some articles written on how the NBA was trying to make it easier to score. For example, there was an article that noted that every night ESPN had a new highlight of Grant Hill throwing down an alley-oop dunk, or Anthony Hardaway ripping through the lane for a finger roll, and that even Celtics center AC Jurassic Earl had also been scoring. If this was happening for other players, what do you think is going to happen with Michael Jordan?
Next.
Some NBA people admitted that Michael Jordan was the reason.
Next.
Some NBA people admitted that Michael Jordan was the main reason.
Next.
Wilt Chamberlain explained how they changed all the rules to make it tougher for him, and how they changed all the rules to make it easier for Michael Jordan.
Next.
Charles Oakley explained that the NBA protected Michael Jordan. Kevin McHale explained that the NBA made all these convoluted rules for Michael Jordan.
Next.
Magic Johnson explained in a serious and joking way that you can't get too close to Michael Jordan because it is a foul. And when he and Michael Jordan were trash-talking each other, Magic Johnson told Michael Jordan that they were no longer in Chicago Stadium.
Next.
Charles Barkley questioned the referee in a game for basically giving preferential treatment to Michael Jordan.
Next.
Isaiah Thomas basically explained that the NBA changed rules because of Michael Jordan.
Next.
PJ Carlesimo did support the NBA, but at the same time he had some reservations. For example, he believed that the new illegal defense rules could produce the same isolation plays the league attempted to legislate away in the past. And if he is right, then those plays would help Michael Jordan.
Next.
Michael Jordan himself knew it. When Michael Jordan came back to the NBA after his first retirement, one of the reasons he came back was because he thought the rules that they were changing might make it easier to win in the NBA.
Next.
A few years ago, there was some article about Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan was in a room with the guy who was close to him, and the guy who was close to him made a point about how the referees let him get away with things, and Michael Jordan did not seem to agree with the guy, but at the same time, he seemed to agree with him.
Next.
The Detroit Pistons started winning, and the NBA changed rules to make it harder for them to win. Rod Thorne was one of the people who helped change things. He basically explained that the new rules should do two things. 1, bring the NBA closer to FIBA, and 2, stop defensive things that were being done since the Detroit Pistons started winning.
Next.
When the Detroit Pistons were winning, the New York Knicks made a team to try to beat them, and when the New York Knicks started to do well, the NBA changed rules to make it harder for them to win.
Next.
Anthony Mason explained, quote, "The game has become sissified. Let us play. People started appreciating banging and defense. It became a skill thing, offense against defense. If they leave things the way they are now, you're not going to have any choice but to make it work. But people are going to get bored with the games. It's going to get ridiculous, unquote.
Next.
Pat Riley explained, quote, the nature of our team is being a good defensive team, a hard team, physical team. Because we got the most notoriety, we were targeted. It was always the Knicks, the Knicks, the Knicks. Unquote.
Next.
Pat Riley basically explained that the hand checking rules should not have been thrown out, but modified to go between tactile handwriting and something that's illegal. He explained the players would have preferred a stiffer, and then he paused and he gave a small smile and he explained, quote, league officials want points and they're going to get them from the free throw line, unquote.
Next.
Scottie Pippen was asked about the new rules and he explained, quote, this is going to hurt the Knicks, unquote.
Next.
The Miami Heat became a really good defensive team, and the NBA made it harder for them to win. Now that you understand all this, let's go over some of the rules that were changed for Michael Jordan. I am not going to go over every rule, and I'm not going to go over when each rule was changed. I am just going to go over some of the rules that were changed, because you only need to have an idea of some of the rules that were changed.
So here are some examples in no particular order. First.
The NBA stopped allowing teams to put more than two guys on the side of the court away from the ball below the top of the foul circle. Almost as soon as the new rule was announced, it became known as the Michael Jordan rule because of Michael Jordan playing well one-on-one in games.
Next.
The three-point line was shortened. It used to be 23 feet 9 inches at the top of the key and 22 feet in the corners, and then it went to 22 feet.
Next.
Hand checking was strictly forbidden in the backcourt and above the free throw line. Contact with the forearm was only allowed from the wrist to the elbow, and the elbow must be bent below the free throw line.
Next.
Two-handed contact was no longer allowed.
Next.
New illegal defense rules made it difficult to double team because the defender can no longer drop below the free throw line when his man is above the top of the key. The floor was opened. The rule that allowed a type of hand check was suspended. People started to have an easier time going to the basket. Hey, please subscribe, and if you disagree with me on something, you can go on my program and show me your facts on whatever you disagree on. If you want to go on, let's set it up. Send me an email. The email is right there in the description section. Thank you.